Two coworkers, same job title, same $95,000 salary, same $100,000 sitting in their 401k the year they both turned 40. Fast forward 25 years, and one of them retires at 65 with $1.8 million, a paid-off house, and zero anxiety about a doctor's bill. The other is still working 3 days a week at 68 because Social Security doesn't stretch far enough. Same income, same starting point, same math available to both of them. So what actually separated a comfortable retirement from a stressed one? It wasn't their 20s, it wasn't their 30s. It was one specific decade, their 40s. My name is Joey, and on this channel, I want to teach you how to save, invest, use, and grow your money so you can have more freedom and retire earlier without depending on the government. Subscribe to the channel and like this video. This is the perfect time for my 40s. Here's the thing about your 40s that nobody really explains to you. It's the decade that feels like relief. The mortgage doesn't feel as scary anymore. The kids are old enough to pour their own cereal. Your salary has finally caught up to your effort. According to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, the median household headed by someone in their 40s earns significantly more than a decade earlier. But the median retirement account balance for that same age group sits at just around $115,000. That number should stop you. Because if you're 42 years old with $115,000 saved and you're planning to retire at 65, you don't actually have a savings problem yet. You have a decision problem, and it's about to get made in the next 10 years, whether you notice it or not. Here's why this specific decade catches so many people off guard. In your 30s, you were too busy surviving. Daycare, student loans, a starter house, to have much left over anyway. Nobody expects you to be crushing it financially at 34. But your 40s are different. This is the decade where for the first time, you actually have room. Room in your income, room in your schedule, room in your budget. And here's the trap. That room doesn't automatically become retirement savings. It becomes a nicer house, a nicer car, a vacation that matches what your neighbor just posted. Every single one of those choices feels completely reasonable in the moment. None of them feel like the decision that determines whether you retire at 62 or you're still clocking in at 70. Let's talk about why your 40s carry so much more weight than any other decade, mathematically. 3 forces line up here that never line up quite the same way again. First, peak earning power. Most people hit their highest sustained income between their early 40s and mid-50s. Second, compounding time. At 40, you've still got roughly 25 years until traditional retirement age. And at a historical 8% average market return, a dollar invested today grows to almost $7 by 65. Wait 10 years to start seriously investing, and that same dollar only grows to about $3.17. You lose more than half the multiplier by waiting just 1 decade. Third, expense stabilization. Here's what that looks like in real dollars. Say you're 40 with $100,000 already saved and a $105,000 salary. If you save 15% of your income every year from 40 to 65, investing in a diversified index fund averaging 8%, you retire with approximately $1.8 million. Now, say instead you only save 5% during your 40s because life finally has some breathing room, and you panic at 50. Cranking savings all the way up to 20% for the next 15 years. That's more aggressive saving than the first person ever attempted, and you still retire with only about $1.5 million, $300,000 less, purely because of what happened in 1 decade. Now, take it one step further. Say during your 40s, you actually reduce your contributions to fund a house upgrade and 2 nicer cars, saving just 2% of your income for those 10 years. Even with an aggressive catch-up at 50, you land around $1.07 million by 65, roughly $730,000 less than the person who simply stayed consistent. Same income, same market returns, the only variable that moved was what you did with your 40s. So if the math is this obvious, why does almost everyone still end up in the second or third scenario? Because none of those decisions get made all at once. Nobody sits down at 41 and decides to. This is lifestyle creep, and it's dangerous precisely because it's invisible in the moment. Behavioral research on hedonic adaptation shows that the happiness boost from a lifestyle upgrade, the new kitchen, the nicer car, typically fades within 18 to 24 months. You stop noticing the granite countertops. The new car just becomes the car. But the reduced contribution keeps compounding against you for another 20 years. The pleasure was temporary. The financial cost wasn't. And there's a social layer on top of it. Your 40s are usually the decade when your peer group is visibly spending. The renovation, the boat, the trip that shows up on everyone's feed. Resisting that isn't just a math problem. It's a willpower problem, played out in public for 10 straight years. So here's what actually works. First, automate before the money hits your checking account. When you get a raise, immediately bump your 401k contribution by at least half of that raise increase. You'll never miss money you never saw. If your employer offers a contribution auto-escalation feature, turn it on today. Second, run every major purchase through what I call the 25-year test. Before you upgrade the house or the car, ask what that monthly payment difference would be worth in 25 years compounding at 8% instead of just what it costs today. An extra $1,000 a month toward a bigger mortgage isn't $1,000. Over 25 years at 8%, it's roughly $950,000 in lost retirement wealth. Once you see the real price tag, a lot of upgrades stop looking necessary. Third, if you're 50 or older, use catch-up contributions. The IRS lets you contribute an extra $7,500 a year to your 401k on top of the standard limit once you turn 50, and an extra $1,000 to a Roth or traditional IRA. That's real, immediate leverage specifically built for people trying to close a gap. Fourth, get a mid-decade checkup. Somewhere around 44 or 45, sit down with a fee-only fiduciary advisor if you can afford one and actually run your retirement number. Not a guess, an actual projection. Most people never do this until it's nearly too late to change course. None of this requires earning more money. It requires deciding on purpose what your 40s are actually for.
Look, your 40s are going to end either way. The only question is which version of yourself is waiting for you at 65? The one with options or the one still checking prices at the grocery store? If this changed how you're thinking about the next 10 years, hit subscribe because next week I'm breaking down the exact savings rate benchmark you should hit at every age between 30 and 60. Like this video if you want more videos like this one. I'll see you in the next one.